This lidded container started off as an oddly shaped chunk of gnarly wood. I added resin and it became one of my favorite pieces. Watch this transformation and see how the white swirls were made. Hello, I'm Dennis Pervensky and welcome to Grandpa Dennis's woodturning studio. I was looking in my woodshed and I found this odd-shaped burl. It's a birch burl, and because the bark has these little bumps all over the place, I know it's highly figured. It's a strange shape. Here's my plan. Not sure if it'll work. I'm going to cut it straight across and see if I can put two of these pieces, the two pieces from here. I hope they'll fit. So that's the plan. Let's see if that works. It's either going to be a brilliant idea or it's going to flop. I'm not sure which. Stay tuned. The bench was messy when I started. Look at it now. This piece has more in there. I think I can hit that with the chisels a bit more. That's not bad. I have to clean up this bark in between. I think the wire wheel will do a good job on that. Now I've got the wood cleaned up and I've glued it together with a spacer in between. It's looking pretty good. I've decided to make the burled part on the outside, and the reason for that is if I turned it the other way and had all of this figure inside, then I'd be turning away most of it when I turn the bowl, and that would just leave this outer part on this side. And I'm putting it into a smaller pail so it fits a little bit better. And there she is. Now it's time for the epoxy. Designer Epoxy is now a sponsor of my channel. I'm going to try and get some white swirls into this black resin. My theory is that if you mix the powders together and then put it in and mix it up and pour it, well, I'm going to try that. The other thing that I'm trying is Hypershift. It's blue, green, gold. So I'm going to put that into the mix as well, and I'll see what happens with that. So it's a time for experimentation. I'm going to be using 3 spoonfuls of black pearl, 2 spoons of white pearl, 1 spoon of Hypershift. The Hypershift changes colors when the light hits it from different angles. This held 3 cups, and I used 5 of these. 3 times 5, 15 cups. So you can calculate what that comes out in gallons. Ugh. Okay, now the wood has floated. So I have discovered this fantastic invention. This is very high-tech, a high-tech piece of cardboard. I'm putting it on top. And another high-tech piece. This is a special weight called a brick. And it's going on top. And that's going to force the wood to the bottom, and by golly, even with that, I've got the resin just at the surface of the wood. Okay, next move is into a vacuum chamber. So the pail is now in my pressure pot converted to a vacuum chamber. Special gasket on the lid, on the lip of the vacuum chamber. The idea behind the vacuum chamber is to draw out all the air from the resin. The process causes all the bubbles to come out. When I release the vacuum, the bubbles dissipate. I had to do this many times over the course of several hours. Now replacing the acrylic vacuum lid with the pressure pot lid. The pressure will force the resin into all the nooks and crannies. The casting is now out of the pressure pot. I've got this now lined up between centers, and I'm going to true it up just to see what this wood's going to look like in there. That's going to make a difference in terms of my final shape to this. So I'm using the Hercules tool from Hunter Tools. They're a sponsor of mine, and I've been using this for quite a few years now. I did true up one end of the casting, and I put a waste block, glued it on, attached it with the faceplate. Now my next task is to turn this down until I see the wood. This is one of those projects where I have no idea what shape I'm going to make this. However, I'm going to have to make that determination when I see what the wood looks like in here. Turning resin creates ribbons of resin that are all over me and the studio. What a mess. It is at this time that I decide to make a lidded container. Taking off the lid was a real chore, much harder than I thought it would be. I now have the lid off and have it reversed. It is being held on by the vacuum chuck with extra support from the tailstock. Drilling a large hole to the bottom of the container makes hollowing out much easier. Now I'm measuring the wall thickness of the container so that the lid would fit properly. It's delicate work. My sanding usually starts at 80 grit and goes all the way to 800. It's tedious, but it can make or break the project. I use denatured alcohol to clean away the sanding dust, then a buffing wheel to remove the finest scratches on the resin. Reversed the container and attached it to my tailstock. This is to ensure that the container will absolutely center onto the vacuum chuck. The faceplate is removed and the tailstock brought up for support as I turn off the waste block and clean up the bottom of the container. finish I use is a homemade recipe, a combination of linseed oil, tung oil, and varathane. It really brings out the colors. If you like this video, I'd encourage you to subscribe. Click on the bell and that'll give you notice when my next video comes out. I'm trying to get one every week. Leave a comment and hit the like button. That'll really help my channel. Stay tuned for the final reveal.
Grandpa Dennis is turning.
I'm alright, 'cause I'm okay. Doesn't matter if my beard is gray. Just listen, I have something to say. I'm alright, 'cause I'm okay. And this old goat has something to say. So just keep learning from Grandpa Dennis's turning. If you'd like to purchase this container, please send me an email at grandpadennis9@gmail.com. I'll reveal the price at that time.